The difference between a privacy impact assessment and an AI risk assessment is what we want to understand first and foremost. So the difference lies in their scope, their purpose, and focus areas. So while both assessments aim to identify and mitigate risks, they do address different aspects of data processing. So a traditional PIA, as we know them under data protection rules, they're simply not sufficient to address the unique challenges that are posed by AI. So AI models often involve large volumes of data, and it's on a scale which is uncommon among other processing solutions. They can also be readily used to make or guide decision-making processes with profound impacts on individuals. Essentially, the impact and likelihood of traditional privacy risks can be greatly amplified by the use of AI technology. So, whereas the focus of a PIA is generally on personal data protection and associated privacy risks, an AI risk assessment focuses more on the design, development, and deployment of AI systems. And it looks at broader risks such as ethical, societal, and fundamental rights. It also expands on the key risks addressed in a PIA, so these which are typically focused on compliance with data protection principles. But the AI risk assessment, you want to specifically assess what decisions are made from the processing and the impacts that these decisions have on individuals. And that can include bias, discrimination, transparency issues, and societal harm. So essentially, your PIA needs to be elevated to account for the specific characteristics and risks of AI. This means adapting your PIA methodology, the scope, criteria, documentation to reflect the nature and context of AI. It also means involving relevant stakeholders from different disciplines and perspectives that you wouldn't necessarily normally include in a PIA discussion. So this could be data scientists, engineers, ethicists, lawyers, and users. So a main challenge we see when assessing AI is the dynamic risk associated with the use of AI systems. So the nature of AI models means that they change over time. This makes a one-time assessment inadequate. An AI risk assessment should be a living, breathing assessment where it is continuously reviewed and updated to account for changes that occur with the use of AI technology. So, for instance, if you're using a generative AI model, the more it is fed new data and it learns from its training data, the more its outputs need to be monitored to ensure that it is still producing the intended outputs. For example, as it begins to learn, you'd want to continuously test to make sure it isn't producing something like hallucinations. The second major challenge is that the opacity of most AI models makes it difficult to meet explainability requirements. So, if you, as a developer or a deployer, if you don't know exactly how the AI model works or arrives at its decision, how can you be expected to provide meaningful explanations to individuals or even regulators? So, this is a big challenge of using certain types of AI models, and this can be alleviated to some degree by conducting a thorough AI risk assessment.